time again for the program from the National Assembly, House of Representatives. Welcome to this episode of the program. My name is Mitaire Ikben, and it's good to have you join us at this time. Members of the House of Representatives have asked for a waiver on toll gate and parking fees for members of the nation's armed forces across various transportation hubs in the country, be it airports, seaports, train stations, or motor parks. Adopting a motion to this effect on the floor of the House, lawmakers noted that exemption from transportation toll fees should be part of privileges accorded military personnel, considering the sacrifices they make for national peace and security. These and other resolutions of the House are part of the plenary of May 21, 2024.
Almighty God, creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions, so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen. I'm sure you remember that last week, the President has submitted a proposal, a request for approval for the establishment of a promissory note program for reimbursement to Kebbi State and Nasarawa State governments for the takeover of newly constructed airports by the federal government. The message was conveyed, but referral was not made. So it's my pleasure to announce that this particular request is referred to the Committee on Loans and Debts for further legislative action. Any member who has a matter of urgent public importance may present to the House, please. Sir. And I will start by recognizing Abdul Samad Dasuki, if he's around, to move his motion.
I rise this morning to move a matter of urgent public importance for the House under Order 8 Rule 5 of the Standing Rules of the House, for the House to look at this matter as urgent for the need to waive the toll gate fees in all Nigerian airports for members of the Nigerian Armed Forces. I so move, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Prior to the first leg. Yes, Honorable, please go ahead.
I raise to second the motion ably briefed by Senator Akin Sokoto. Honorable Adisama Dasuki, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Those against, you say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg of the motion is the DS with a small d.
I rise to second the second leg of the motion, ably moved by my brother, Honorable Abdul Samad Dasuki. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Dasuki, please proceed and present your motion.
The House notes that it was reported on May 14th by online and print media that the Minister of Aviation announced that the Federal Executive Council has approved the cancellation of all exemptions on airport access payments for VIPs in Nigeria due to the huge revenue losses they caused to the federal government. The House also notes that the Minister of Aviation will implement the decision of the Federal Executive Council by sending out circulars to relevant authorities in a matter of days. The House further notes that men and women of the armed forces honor our nation with the highest form of service and without reservation, keeping us safe from harm, protecting our wealth and territorial integrity, ensuring safe navigation on our territorial waters, protecting our borders, including the Gulf of Guinea, the creeks, Sahara Desert, and the forests, and fighting armed bandits who invade our communities. The House aware that it is important to show gratitude by honoring our brothers and sisters who are voluntarily serving under our flag, putting in their active years to keep our nation safe, with some losing their lives and some becoming disabled from the battlefield, among other effects. The House also aware that honoring these men and women in uniform and also encouraging fellow citizens to acknowledge their service to the nation is the right step to take as a way to appreciate their immeasurable sacrifices they make. Further aware that honoring those who fight for our survival will also inspire our youth to enroll in the military, not as a means of escaping the web of unemployment, but as a valuable call to higher service to the nation. Concerned that members of the armed forces are subjected to paying access to airports, where they are also expected to protect citizens and foreigners alike, whether or not they are on duty and even while they are passengers themselves. Also concerned that their services, through renominated, cannot be quantified, especially when the risks to them and their dependents are considered. Therefore, we should not be hesitant to show them in our little way that we see them and we acknowledge their sacrifices. Worried that unless we are intentional in showing our appreciation to them by extending privileges like the proposed exemption, our nation will appear to underrate their services and lack knowledge of the value they bring. The House do resolves to 1, direct the Minister of Aviation to mandate the relevant authorities to exempt members of the armed forces from toll gate fees, parking payments in airports across the country. 2, direct the House Committee on Aviation to ensure compliance with the directive. I so move, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Amendment, right? Yes, Honorable, go ahead.
Amendments they need to include railways, seaports, and motor parks on the list as enumerated by the presenter of this motion. Thank you.
Any seconder? Did you understand what the mover is talking about? He's saying that any public transportation channel, members of the armed forces should be given priority on boarding. I think it is a practice I know that is applicable in some developed countries like America. I don't know whether you think it is wise and proper for us in Nigeria to also key in. On the same subject matter, please go ahead.
I want to give riders to both the honorable member, my very distinguished friend that presented this motion, and that of the amendment being moved by my dear colleague. The motion at hand is so specific about the directive on the tickets by the aviation. And in my own opinion, I don't think that of other transport sectors can now be introduced. But going forward, Mr. Speaker, it is tried to say for our senior citizens, I want to encourage my honorable member to come up with another motion that will encapsulate this idea that he has so generated, maybe that many of us have never thought of. So that will now cover holistically, aside that of the ticket on the aviation. Going forward, Mr. Speaker, my amendment to what Honorable Dasuki moved is on the second leg. Since this concerns the Committee on Aviation, Mr. Speaker.
You know, somebody is already, we have not, so I don't think if it is proper for you to move for another amendment. Perhaps you can wait until we take a position on the first amendment and then we give you the opportunity to move for the second amendment. Unless if your own amendment will also contradict, it's in negation of the first amendment that we are discussing about now.
That's taken, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Okay. So, any seconder to the amendment moved by Honorable Jallo?
I rise here this morning to second the amendment ably moved by my dear brother and colleague, Honorable Jallo. I so second.
Vote of this amendment, she say aye. Those against, she say nay. There is have it. Honorable Isiaka.
The amendment is that that's on the second leg. And of course, the first one had negated that, so I want to withdraw it, Mr. Speaker, sir.
As amended, should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Aviation for further legislative action. The second motion is coming from Honorable Lake Joseph Abejide. If Honorable Lake is around, please can you rise and move your motion?
I rise under 8, Rule 5, to move a motion of urgent public importance on the urgent need to address the insecurity and incessant attack against the people of Yagbaland perpetrated by unknown gunmen in Yagba Federal Constituency. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I rise this morning to second the motion being ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Abuja. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
The second leg?
I rise to support the second leg of the motion ably moved by my senior colleague, also support.
Motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Joseph.
The motion is on the urgent need to address the insecurity and incessant attack against the people of Yagbaland perpetrated by unknown gunmen. Alarmed by the shocking incident that occurred on May 7th, 2024 in the Jiba community, Yagba West local government area of Kogi State, where a group of armed kidnappers numbering about 10, all dressed in black, stormed the central market in the broad daylight and abducted a prominent businesswoman, Buki, and a male customer after shooting sporadically, causing panic and fear among the residents. Further alarmed that security personnel are not spared by these headmen and their communities as a policeman was macheted along Okutadudu in Yagba West local government area on the 11th of May 2024, underscoring the grim security situation and the regrettable failure of the current security architecture, which appears to be overwhelmed by the audacity of these headmen and their community. Troubled by the fact that comparable violent attacks and kidnapping have been occurring on a weekly basis, including a prior incident approximately 2 weeks before the Ejiba incident, where 2 individuals were abducted from residence of a prominent businessman and political figure named Mr. David Joseph, an abduction that tragically resulted in death of one of the victims. Deeply troubled by another recent development on Friday, May 17, 2024, where 2 persons were ambushed and brutally killed at Ogbe community in Yagba West local government area of the state by herdsmen armed with sophisticated weapons who slaughtered their victims without being apprehended by local security services. Recall that more than 6 persons were kidnapped within the space of 48 hours around Isolu in Yagba East local government area, and 3 people were again murdered between Idofin and Isolu in an attempt to escape from the kidnappers. Worried with grave concern that these attacks are perpetrated under the pretext of migration by cattle herders, a lot of whom are non-Nigerians. Also worried that these armed groups infiltrated farms and forests in the area, populate the regions from within the forest, the outskirts and fringes of existing communities, and engage in kidnapping, killing, raping, and maiming of indigents, causing several insecurity and fear among the local populace. Further worried that these armed groups are not known to the indigenous people of the land. They live uncivilized lives and have adopted a hostile existence completely at variance with the local culture and way of life, creating a divide within the community. Disturbed that the indigenous people who do not own weapons now live in fear of the heavily armed non-indigenous who have forcibly seized farmlands, causing serious famine due to inability of indigenous to farm and access their agricultural lands. Also disturbed about the inability of the security apparatus to address the systematic takeover of lands belonging to the good people of the Federal constituency as they allow private individuals to carry arms in the broad daylight, watch as non-natives take over farms, eat crops of indigenous farmers, and sack indigenes from their farmlands, with many killed for trying to access their lands or objecting to the eating of their crops. Perplexed that the herders and their newly established communities are known to openly carry arms, cutlasses, machetes, openly in contrast to the indigenous people of Yagbaland who have traditionally relied on Nigerian police for protection and do not engage in such practices. Deeply saddened by the trend of violence and hopelessness that has befallen the once peaceful Yagba axis of Kogi West Central District, which has now turned into an epicenter of banditry and kidnapping, with criminals operating on a daily basis, leaving the local populace in a state of constant fear and despair. They also resolved to urge the federal government to direct urgent attention and concentrated effort toward the Yabazis of Kogi West Central District, an area formerly renowned for its peaceful nature, but which has tragically devolved into a hotbed of banditry, kidnapping, and other criminal activities occurring on a daily basis. 2, urge the Chief of Defense Staff and Inspector General of Police to identify and profile each individual living in obscurity within the forest of the Yagba Federal constituency, a lot of whom are non-Nigerian for security purposes. 3, further urge the Inspector General of Police to carry out a comprehensive mop-up of all arms, ammunition, AK-47, cutlasses, and other weapons in their possession, in the possession of the herders and individuals within the constituency, to prohibit the public carrying of such arms and weapons. 4, all security architecture, including the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of State Security Services, the Commandant General of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, to comb Yagba Forest and secure immediate release of victims and arrest the kidnappers. 5, urge the federal government to set a comprehensive security strategy in collaboration with local stakeholders to address the root causes of the insecurity and ensure the safety and well-being of all residents in Yagba Federal constituency. And finally, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, to urge the committee on legislative compliance to ensure compliance. Thank you.
Is that contained in your prayers? I think if you want that to be done, somebody can come by way of amendment, but it's not contained here. Okay, any contribution or amendment? Yes, Honorable Chair.
I'd like to amend the motion to have a minute silence for the victims of the attacks. I so move. Thank you.
Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Any seconder to the main motion? Lalu, Honorable Lalu.
Rise to second the motion, ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Leke. I so second.
Of this motion as amended, she say aye. Those against, she say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Defense and Police for further legislative action. Shall we rise for a minute silence? May their soul rest in peace. Honorable colleagues, it's my pleasure to invite Honorable Barrister Jesse Joy from Lagos to move his motion.
I rise this morning under 8 through 5 that that the House suspend its rules to enable me move this motion of urgent public importance concerning the abysmal state of the radio detection and ranging system, otherwise called RADA, at Ikeja Moita Mohammed International Airport. Mr. Speaker, I took so move.
Any seconder to the first leg of the motion? Any seconder? Yes, Honorable David.
I rise this morning to second this motion as heavily moved by my honorable colleague. I say second.
Vote of this motion, she say aye. Those against, she say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg. Yes, my dear sister.
I rise this morning to second the second leg of the motion moved by my colleague. I do second.
Those against, you say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, please proceed.
Motion on urgent public importance on enhanced accountability and competence in Nigerian airports. The House knows that there is need to maintain a high standard of safety, security and efficiency at our airports, ensuring that all personnel and contractors are properly qualified and competent is vital to the smooth operation of our airports and safety for all passengers and stakeholders. The House also notes that the efficient functioning of Nigerian airports is critical to the national security, safety and economic development. The House further notes that recent incidents have raised concern about the competency and accountability of personnel and contractors working at our airports. The House are aware that the potential risks to safety, security and efficiency posed by appointment of incompetent officers to sensitive positions and employment of political appointees that lack requisite knowledge and competency is detrimental to safety and security of our airports. The House is worried that the abysmal state of our radio and detection radar, otherwise called radar system, which present a disaster awaiting to happen, often labors and fail at critical time when the need arises. The House is worried that the state of our communication radios, with previous attempt to resolve this challenge, yielded no positive improvement, leading pilots and controllers to rely on relays from others for necessary instruction and risking national embarrassment. The House is disturbed that the store safety towers, despite significant investment, needs urgent attention to improve on the efficiency in our airports. The House is disturbed that aeronautic system information system, otherwise called AIS, automation project, have been going on in our airport for over 15 years without completion.
Please, can you approach the chair?
Which could resolve communications challenges at our airspace when completed. The House, distinguished colleagues and the Speaker, the House is concerned that the recruitment into technical areas must be regulated to provide manifestation. I take it again. The recruitment into technical areas which show manifest of incompetency, skewed to political appointment, is detrimental to our airport. The House acknowledged that Nigerian airport played a critical role in the nation's transportation infrastructure and overall economic development, and recognized the importance of ensuring that all personnel and contractors working at these airports are qualified and competent. The House further acknowledged that the political appointee plays a role in personal management. However, political influence should not compromise competency. I therefore urge all relevant authorities to present merit-based appointment at the airports. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, the House therefore resolved that the Minister of Aviation and relevant agency should conduct a comprehensive audit of airport personnel. The audit should include an assessment of qualified skill, qualification adherence to professional standard, and the report should be presented to this House within 14 days. The House equally resolved to mandate an audit of all contract contractors engaged in specialized areas at our airport in the last 1 year, assessing their knowledge, competence, and ability to perform their duty efficiently and to ensure that they get the best hand in these jobs. The House resolved mandate the Minister of Aviation to conduct an audit of technical system and project for thorough review of the current state of radar in system, the safety tower project, and the aeronautical information system project. The finding and recommendation for improvement shall be submitted to the House within 14 days. The House resolved to mandate the Minister of Aviation, along with the heads of relevant agency and department, to appear before the House Committee on Aviation within 7 days of to address this concern. The House will resolve Committee on Legislative Compliance to oversee that resolutions are fully implemented. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, I hereby move that this motion be taken as very urgent in light of this. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Fage?
Rise to second the motion moved by my colleague, Mr. Speaker. I so second.
Yes, you want to contribute? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I listened to the concerns of the motion, and I'm a little bit worried. Some of the postulations sounded very definite, and we are still asking for investigation. I also have an added concern, Mr. Speaker, and my colleagues, that tended to be likened to the lack of thoroughness in a committee that is supposed to oversee and oversight this department. Because if we're actually doing all of this, these kind of thoughts will not be displayed in the open. The committee should have been able to discover and probably fine-tune before it gets to this point. So there seems to be some level of contradictions in the entirety of the body of the motion, Mr. Speaker. It's just a concern. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take the motion as it is, but probably to guide us further, that some of the things that we want to do should not be very definite in putting them out. You said you have found out this, you have found out that, and you are still asking for investigation. If you are very definite that people have been employed that are not competent, so what are you investigating again? That's just my concern, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
And I'm sure all the chairmen of committees have heard, which you take note and try to be more proactive. Prof, you want to also contribute?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not sure if he's asking for an investigation and at the same time inviting the minister. I think we want to look at the prayers carefully so that we don't contradict ourselves. But by way of comment on this, I think we take a lot of things for granted in this country. The easiest way to compromise airport security is through contractors at the airports, because their workers do not go through the normal security checks. They drive in through special gates and just come in there. And if anybody here watches air crash investigation, which is on Discovery Channel, you see that many airplane crashes, the bombs that were planted in there came from workers who come in there to do construction work or repair work. They are easily compromised outside. So I think this is very critical, but our approach should be streamlined so we can get maximum results from our efforts and be able to improve what is going on in the aviation sector. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Aviation for further legislative action.
I'm mentioning the committee because the point of order I'm bringing are twofold. I plead with honorable colleagues to please bear with me. The point of order is raised based on Order 9, Rule 6, that provides that any matter that has been debated and agreed upon cannot be revisited until there is a motion for rescission. Mr. Speaker, I'm looking at the votes and proceedings of the 9th of May, And there's this ad hoc committee that is set up to carry out a number of interventions. The interventions, Mr. Speaker, are so wide, very all-encompassing, and takes over the duties of all committees in the House, and even some of the executive functions. The prayers that were passed on that day, I want to appeal that we rescind them. I'm referring to the committee that's on tracking of activities of private sector, foreign and local trade malpractices, HB 187 of this House, with the committee being chaired by Honorable Maki, and 12 others. The prayers that were passed, if you permit me to read them: recover, harness, or prevent further loss of such magnitude in a bid to enhance overall country's GDP. Track activities in the private sector, foreign sector, local companies. Carry out its statutory oversight functions in all increasing sophisticated private sector. Build a technical software tracker that cannot be easily bypassed. You will see that the last one is an executive function to build a software. And if you look at all the other prayers, they are so wide that every committee in the House will lose their own activities, their own assignment for this ad hoc committee. So I want to pray, Mr. Speaker, for the House to rescind this decision such that the committee that's so set up can meet with the sponsor and perhaps leadership and restructure the prayers such that they will be defined, they will be specific, and they will be goal-oriented. That's my prayer, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of 5 reports of the Committee on Public Petition. Honorable Mike Etaba is hereby invited to present the reports.
Following bills from the committee, the House do receive the reports of the Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by Olabumiji and co. against the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Police Force on the gruesome murder of Babajide Oluolabi on the 6th of August 2019 by soldiers attached to 93 Battalion, Takum, Taraba State, while on national assignment with the Inspector General of Police, IGP Intelligence Response Team. The second report I'm presenting is the House do hereby receive the report of the Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by PP, AGEO, and Associate against National Examination Council, NECO, for unlawful dismissal from office. Mr. Speaker, the House also do receive the reports of the Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by Alifa Onun against the Nigerian Customs Service on the non-compliance of the House resolution on his case. The House also received the reports of the Committee on Public Petitions on the position by Kennedy C. Amos, Associate against Airtel Network Limited over fraudulent transactions involving the land of Mrs. Julaina Nwekama of Biana Town, Kana local government area of Rivers State. Mr. Speaker, the last but not the least is the House do hereby receive the report on the Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by Civil Society for Ethics Value Development Initiative on the denial of promotion for professor working at the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Research and Development. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, these are my reports, and I urge that you allow me to play the report, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Any seconder? Yes, Honorable. Please go ahead.
I rise to second as moved by Honorable Mike Etaba to lay the report. Thank you.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Chair, please proceed and lay your reports. Is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, Act Cap A12, Laws of Federal Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to make provisions for establishment of agricultural and energy technical institutes above Delta State and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Nnamdi Ezechi. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 22nd November 2023. I now invite Honorable Ezechi to move that the bill be read a second time.
I rise here this morning to move this very important motion of a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Cap A12 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to make provision for the establishment of Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute in Abo, Ndokwa local government area of Delta State for related matters HB 955. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Go ahead and second.
I hereby second the motion moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Please, can you go ahead, Honorable?
I rise here this morning to move a motion of a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provision for the establishment of Agricultural and Energy Technical Institute in Abo, Delta State, and for related matters HB 955. Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I stand before you this morning for this second reading of a bill that holds immense potential for the agricultural and energy sectors of the nation. This bill seeks to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act of the Federation 2004 to pave way for establishment of Agriculture and Energy Technical Institute in Abo, Delta State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the importance of agriculture cannot be overstated in our quest for sustainable development and economic prosperity. It is a backbone of our nation, providing food security, employment opportunities, and a significant contribution to our GDP. However, to fully harness the potential of agricultural sector, it is urgent need for innovative approach, modern techniques, and specialized training. Mr. Speaker, because of time, let me go to the fourth paragraph. Furthermore, this bill aligns with the government policies that agriculture is a great hope for this country, and to diversify the economy and promote self-sufficiency in food production. Mr. Speaker, in addition to this economic benefit, the Institute will serve as catalyst for innovation, technology transfer, and collaboration between academia, industry, and government agencies by fostering a conducive environment for research and development. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I urge my esteemed colleagues to support this bill for second reading. Together, let us seize this opportunity to invest in the future of agriculture and energy in Nigeria and pave the way for a brighter and prosperous tomorrow. I appeal to my honorable colleagues to support this bill to be read the second time. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
My old friend Uduak, I have not seen your face for quite some time. You have the floor.
And I rise this moment to second that motion. I so second.
Aye. Those Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend National Teachers Institute Act (Cap) N79, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to constitute membership of the Council and provide Nigeria's certificate in education, undergraduate, postgraduate, and research programs in teachers' education and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Al-Malik Zubairu. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 28 March 2024. I now invite Honorable Al-Malik to move that the bill be read a second time.
The bill for an act to amend the National Teachers Institute Act (CAF) N79, Law of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to constitute the membership of the Council, establish Senate, and provide national teachers internships programs, Nigerian certificate in education, undergraduate, postgraduate programs using distance learning systems, and research programs in teachers' education and for related matters, to be read for the second time, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
If you are from Jigawa and from one of the biggest local governments, you can rise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise this afternoon to second the motion ably raised by Honorable Abdul Malik Zubairu Zanambungudu. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, please lead the debate.
Mr. Speaker, the National Teachers Institute Kaduna has been in operation since 1976, and it was backed up by a law established in 1978. It has opened numerous opportunities for teachers and educational professions in Nigeria. At the moment, it has NCE and degree programs in the field of teachers' education in affiliation with some universities. It also shoulders the National Teachers Internship Programs in collaboration with Teachers Registration Councils of Nigeria. This bill seeks to amend the Principal Act of the primary purpose of including the existing programs and to reconstitute the memberships of the Council to enable the Institute to discharge its duties more efficiently. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, these bills contain 10 sections, and the general principles of the bills are to reconstitute the memberships of the Council, to reflect a modern academic institutions, create the Senate and the principal office of the Institute, include NCE, degree, and the research programs, as well as the inclusion of the National Teachers Internship Programs. Mr. Speaker and my honorable colleagues should recall that these are existing institutions with physical and staff structure. I therefore urge Mr. Speaker and my honorable colleagues to support this bill for the betterment of the teachers' education in Nigeria. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Any seconder?
I stand to second the motion ably moved by my brother. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This bill is referred to the Committee on Federal Colleges of Education for further legislative action. The fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act to establish Federal Medical Center Atan Ota, Ogun State, for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Olatunji Akinosi. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 27 July 2023. I now invite Honorable Akinosi to move that the bill be read a second time.
I move that the bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act to establish Federal Medical Center Atonta in Ado-Ota Federal Constituency, Ogun State, and for related matters, HB 349, be read the second time. I so move, sir.
I rise to second the motion by my honorable colleagues from Ogun State. I so second, Mr.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, Honorable, please go ahead and lead the debate.
Mr. Speaker, I feel highly honored to lead this debate on the bill for an act to establish Federal Medical Center Atonta in Ado-Odwota Federal Constituency, HB 349. Mr. Speaker will recollect that this bill was first read on the 27th of July 2023. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it is worthy of note that health plays a crucial role in the economic growth and development of our dear nation. It is therefore on this note that I will be addressing this crucial need for the establishment of a federal medical center in Aton-Ota, Ogun State today. May I please inform this noble house that Ado-Odwota Federal Constituency, Ogun State, has one of the largest concentrations of industries in Nigeria. It is our nation's industrial hub with a growing population which has exposed the area to environmental hazards, pollution of factory wastes, and effluents. Sadly, it has no tertiary health center or facility that can provide qualitative health services to the populace. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I also need to inform you that the industries and businesses in my federal constituency generate one of the largest revenues to the federal inland services in Nigeria. My constituents are in dire need of a medical center to fulfill the huge gap of health and address the concerns of those whose future need to be guaranteed by establishing this federal medical center. The establishment of this federal medical center will go a long way to reduce the burden of health challenges of my constituents. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, once this medical center is established, it will create health security for my dear state Ogun and its environs. It is in view of this that I implore my honorable colleagues to support that this bill be read and passed through second reading so as to provide the medical center for Ado-Odwota Federal Constituency in Ogun State. I so move.
I ask Mr. Speaker wholeheartedly to second this bill as ably moved and well espoused by Honorable Engineer Akinsi. Mr. Speaker, I have no more to say than to second this wonderful bill, and we allow it to pass for the second reading. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Vote of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the National Health Insurance Authority Act 2021 to establish National Social Register as the primary identification tool for the disbursement of the Vulnerable Group Fund and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Adebayo Samuel Adeshola. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 1st November 2023, and now invite Honorable Adedayo to move that the bill be read a second time.
Right Honorable Speaker, the right honorable member is not on seat. I move that the bill be stepped down.
Bill stepped down by the leave of the House. The sixth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for a bill to amend the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act to remove spouse from the list of persons required to declare their assets and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Tazir Olawole Raji, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 31st October 2023, and now invite Honorable Raji to move that the bill be read a second time.
I rise to move
that a bill for an act to amend the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act to remove spouse from the list of persons required to declare their assets and for related matters be read for the second time. I do move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Any seconder? Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to second the motion that the bill be read the second time. Mr. Speaker, I so support.
Vote of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Raji, please lead the debate.
Before us, Mr. Speaker, and my honorable colleagues, is a bill that seeks to amend Section 15, subsection 1C, and Section 23, subsection 7 of the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act. Mr. Speaker, Section 15.1 provides thus that every public officer shall within 15 months after coming into force of this act or immediately after taking office and thereafter, A, at the end of every 4 years, B, at the end of his term of office, C, in the case of a serving officer, within 30 days of the receipt of the form from the Bureau or at such other intervals as the Bureau may specify, submit to the Bureau a written declaration in the form prescribed in the first schedule of this Act or in such form as the Bureau may from time to time specify of all his properties, assets and liabilities and those of his spouse or unmarried children under the age of 21. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleague, the implication of the above provision is that a person to whom this law applies is mandated to declare the assets of his spouse as stipulated in the Act. In addition, such a person is also mandated to attest the correctness of the information provided before a High Court judge. The effect of this provision is that the declarant is liable where the information provided is false, incorrect, or incomplete. In a situation where the spouse of the public officer through declarant deliberately withholds information or provides incorrect information, the declarant will be guilty of an offense under this Act. The situation becomes more challenging where the public officer is in a polygamous marriage. The purpose of this amendment, therefore, is to protect a public officer to whom this section of the law applies from embarrassment that may arise as a result of wrong information made available to him or her in the course of the declaration. Secondly, Section 23, subsection 7 of the Act, which this bill seeks to amend, provides thus. The provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 relating to the prerogative of mercy shall not apply to any punishment imposed in accordance with the provision of this section. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, this section of the Act is draconian and is in conflict with Section 175, subsection 1, paragraph A of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which provides that the President may grant any person concerned with or convicted of any offense created by an act of the National Assembly a pardon, either free or subject to lawful conditions. In in line with the above provision. Section 1, subsection 3 of the Constitution provides that any other law that is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, these constitutions shall prevail, and that other law shall be, to the extent of its inconsistency, to be void. So what this is saying is that the Constitution grants Mr. President that power to exercise prerogative of mercy for anybody convicted for any offense. Now for this act to now remove the power, to attempt to remove the power of Mr. President to exercise that prerogative of mercy for contravention of any provision of this act, I believe is unconstitutional and is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution. And no law can be superior to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Consequently, in view of the above submissions, I urge this Honorable House to expunge Section 23, subsection 7 of the Code of Conduct Tribunal Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
My dear colleagues, I rise to contribute to this very, very important bill. Firstly, I will say that the two amendments sought, whilst I agree with one, I appear not to completely agree with the other. The amendment to remove spouse, divulging of information concerning spouse, I think we should look at the spirit behind the law. The intendment, the spirit behind the law is to curb issues of corruption in public office. And we are aware that some of these actions take place under pseudonyms, most often spouses and children. And so we have seen discoveries in this country where children that are underage have trillions or billions of naira to their credit. I think that that is the intention of the draftsman when this was done. The area that I think we should look at more critically is the age limit. Here we have age limit of 21 years, whilst ordinarily at 18 you become matured and independent. So I think that that should be considered, perhaps at the public hearing and the committee stage, to look at the age limit. Rather than put an age limit of 21, we should reduce it to what we have to 18, because after 18 you are no longer liable for the actions of your child. Now the second amendment sought, I completely agree with it and commend the drafter that there is need for us not to craft laws that will be clearly in contradiction with the ground norm, which is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In totality, I will ask that we allow this bill to pass for second reading, and then subsequently these issues will be looked into and corrections made. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The bill may not be perfect, but the public hearing is another avenue where it can be further debated and a better position taken. So thank you for giving your support. Without any waste of time, I'll put the question. Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. There is it. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, honourable members, the bill for an act and the Code of Conduct Law and Tribunal Act removes spouse from the list of persons required to declare their assets and populated under second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Anti-Corruption for further legislative action. The seventh order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish Nigeria Ajakuta Special Trust Fund and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Sani Igeti Ibrahim. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 30th April 2023. I now invite Honorable Ibrahim to move that the bill be read a second time.
Ibrahim Sam had contacted Rules and Business that he wasn't quite ready. He will do more legislative work and reach the House back. So I'll plead that it be stepped down.
Bill stepped down by the leave of the House. The eighth order of the day is a motion on reconsideration of outstanding bills from preceding assembly. Standing in the name of Honorable Francis E. Waive. Honorable Waive is hereby invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I received communication from Committee on Water Resources. Mr. Speaker, I think it necessary to share with the House. If Mr. Speaker so permit, I will read. Honorable Bashir Usman Gorau, House of Representatives, National Assembly, Abuja. Motion on the need for dredging, desalting and rehabilitation of Goronyo Dam in Sokoto State. House Resolution 145, 7 July 2023. The above subject matters refers, please, kindly note that.
Hello, Honorable.
Yes, sir.
This is wrong. You can't come on the point of order to read a motion.
It's not a motion, sir.
It is a motion already. Please, can you approach the chair?
Yes, sir.
Where are we when the point of order was raised?
Outstanding bills, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Okay. Honorable Chair, please go ahead.
I rise to move the motion for the House to consider outstanding bills from previous assembly. The bills as listed on the other paper are Federal University of Dental Technology and Therapy, Enugu, HB 249, Southwest Development Commission Establishment Bill, HB 283, Court of Appeal Amendment Bill, HB 319, Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Ondo, Establishment Bill, HB 548, Nigerian Content Programs, Contracts, Science, Engineering, Technology, and Innovation Bill, HB 1167, African Union Convention for the Protection and Assistance of Internally Displaced Persons, Domestication and Enforcement Bill, HB 1350, and National Agency for Technology Management Establishment Bill, HB 1193. The House notes that pursuant to Order 12, Rule 17 of the Standing Orders, the House may, upon regazetted or circulated, consider in the Committee of the Whole without commencing de novo the bills whose report was presented by the committee before consideration, passed by the House and forwarded to the Senate for concurrence, for which no concurrence was made or negatived, passed by the House and forwarded to the House, for which no concurrence was made or negatived, or passed by the preceding assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the term of the preceding assembly. Also knows that the aforementioned bills were passed by the preceding assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the tenure of the last assembly. Aware that the bills were read for the first time as H Bills 249, 283, 219, 319, 548, 1350, 1167, and 1193 respectively, the House resolves to commit the bills to the Committee of the Whole for reconsideration. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Yes, my dear brother.
I rise to second as moved by Chairman Rules and Business. I so second.
Those against should say nay. That is have it. The ninth order of the day, sorry, this bill is committed to the Committee of the Whole. The ninth order of the day is a motion on the need to ensure international oil companies involved in the divestment of assets in Niger Delta region of Nigeria comply with the decommissioning, abandonment, regulations and guidelines of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission as enshrined in the Petroleum Industry Act PIA, standing in the name of Honorable Ikegonu Ogunchere. Honorable Ogunchere is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with the leave of the House, I will want to step down this motion.
Bill step down by the leave of the House for further consultation. Thank you. The 10th order of the day is a motion calling on Nigerian police to halt collection of 5,000 naira for issuance of motor vehicle information certificate, standing in the name of Honorable Chris Nkonta. Honorable Nkonta is hereby invited to move the motion. Is he's not on seat? Okay.
Step down, Mr. Speaker.
This motion is a step down by the leave of the House. Thank you. The 11th order of the day is a motion on non-compliance with corporate social responsibility obligations towards oil-producing communities by ExxonMobil Company Limited in Akwa Ibom State, standing in the name of Honorable Uduak Alphonsus Ududo. Honorable Uduak is hereby invited to move the motion. I was made to understand that Honorable Uduak has also requested that this motion be stepped down. So motion is stepped down by the leave of the House. The 12th order of the day is a motion on rehabilitation of Abuja, Ebu, and Asaba Federal Road in Aniocha, Oshimili Federal Constituency, standing in the name of Honorable Ngozi Okoli. Honorable Okoli is hereby invited to move the motion.
This is a motion for the rehabilitation of the Federal Road in Oshimili Aniocha Federal Constituency. The House notes that the Abuja Ebu Asaba in Oshimili Federal Constituency is a high commuter road across the state which facilitates commercial activities both within the state and outside the state. Worried that with the present rate of road, commercial activities of residents will be immensely affected and paralyze economic activities within that region, ultimately leading to the loss of millions of naira worth of goods. Cognizant that the rehabilitation of the road would boost economic activities in the region and facilitate quick movement of people from the region to the nation's capital in record time. The House resolves to urge the Federal Ministry of Works and FEMA to immediately commence repairs on the Abuja Ebu Road in Edo State and Oshimili North, Oshimili South of Delta State. Mandate the Committee of Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance.
I rise to second the motion heavily moved by my brother here. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Legislative Compliance for further legislative action. The 13th order of the day is a motion on deteriorating state of electricity supply in Mina and environs. Standing in the name of Honorable Yusuf Kure Baraji. Honorable Baraji is hereby invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon to move a motion on the deteriorating power supply to Mina and its environment. The House do know that Niger State is home to crucial power generation infrastructure, including 3 hydroelectric power situated in Kainji, Jiba, and Shiruru. Aware of the recent hike of 240% hike in electricity tariff, which saw the rate increase from 60 naira per kilowatt to 225 naira across bandwidth. Alarmed that with incidences of grid collapse, residents and businesses in Mina, Metropolis, and its environment have continued to experience prolonged power outrage despite charging consumers under different tariff bands. Concerned that the recent banding of customers into A, B, and C groups, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, based on expected hours of supply, has not translated to actual supply realities on ground. Mr. Speaker also concerned that the citizens of Mina are currently receiving inadequate electricity supply despite the pay tariff, which is in stark contrast to their expectations. Therefore, resolved to 1, mandate the Committee on Power to interface with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Transmission Company, and Abuja Electricity Distribution Company to identify and address issues of poor supply of power. 2, also mandate the Committee on Power to monitor the restoration of stable electricity in Mina as soon as possible and investigate the poor electricity supply situation in Mina and its environment and report back to this Hallowed Chamber within 2 weeks. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this singular opportunity, and I so move.
Second, go ahead.
I rise to second the motion. I will move by my friend, Yusuf Baraji. I so second.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Power for further legislative actions. The 14th order of the day is a motion on the need to complete the Okaki Inigwe Okole-Nambe Road project, standing in the name of Honorable Mitema Obodo. Honorable Obodo is hereby invited to move the motion.
A motion is on the need to complete the Okaki Inigwe Okole-Nambe Road project. The House notes that the Okaki Kolo Yenegwe Nembe Road project connects over 30 communities across 4 local governments areas of Rivers and Bayelsa State.
Yes, leader, the 2 leaders, please, if you can approach the chair.
Also notes that this road project
minority leader, please can you approach the chair? Sorry for the interruption, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And awarded in 1943 during the colonial era for a paltry sum of £3 million. Aware that the contract for the reconstruction of the said road was awarded during the administration of late President Shehu Shagari in 1981, but it was not executed. Also aware that during the administration of late President Umaru Yar'Adua, the contract for the reconstruction of the road was re-awarded to Mrs. Eneco Company Limited at the contract sum of 9,983,340,780 naira with a completion term of 24 months. Further aware that only 6 kilometers of the road was constructed by the contractor, thus abandoning the project. What
Worried that the non-completion of this road project has negatively affected travel time and access to local markets, workplaces, educational institutions, and farms. Also worried that several communities and commuters and residents, especially farmers, have lost their lives and farm produce worth millions of naira as a result of the deplorable state of the road and robbery incidences. The House therefore resolves, 1, to urge the Federal Ministry of Works to prompt the contractor, Messrs. Eneco Company Limited, back to site and expedite the construction of the road project. And 2, mandate the committees on works and FEMA to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I so move.
Honorable Ajilo, rise to second the motions ably moved by my very good friend and brother, Honorable Mitama. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is it. And for your information, the DS will soon be one of the members of Zazo Emirate Council, by the grace of God. Committee on Works and Federal Road Maintenance Agency for further legislative action. The 15th order of the day is a motion on rehabilitation of Biu, Garkida, Adama Road in Askira, Ubam, Hawul Federal Constituency. Standing in the name of Honorable Midala Osman Balami, Honorable Midala is hereby invited to move the motion.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I rise this morning to move the motion on the need for urgent funding to rehabilitate the Biu Garkida Gombe Road in the Askira Uba Hawul Federal Constituency in Borno and Adamawa states. Honorable colleagues, the House notes that the Biu Garkida Road, a critical transportation link serving several communities in the Askira Uba Hawul Federal Constituency, has fallen into a severe disrepair, posing significant risks to commuters and hindering economic activities in the region. Also note that the road's deplorable condition has caused numerous accidents, leading to loss of lives, injuries, and substantial damage to vehicles. These deteriorated infrastructures not only endanger the safety of road users, but also impaired the socio-economic development of the area. Concerned that the current state of the Biu Garkida Adama Road is likely to worsen with the onset of the rainy season, further increase the risk of accident and hampering transportation of goods and services, it is critical to address this issue promptly to avoid further loss of lives and economic stagnation. Worried that despite being awarded for construction and rehabilitation in 2020, the road project has not received the necessary attention and resources, leading to continued degradation and significant challenges for commuters and businesses in the region. Aware that the rehabilitation of this road is vital not only for safety and well-being of the residents of Borno and Adamawa State, but also for the overall connectivity and economic stability of the Northeast region. The Biu Garkida Gombe Road is key route for transportation, trade, and access to essential services. The House resolved to urge the federal government, Ministry of Budget and Planning, Works and other relevant agencies to allocate funding and resources to rehabilitate Biu Garkida Gombe Road. Also urge the federal government to prioritize this project and ensure that the road rehabilitation is completed without further delay to safeguard lives, support economic growth, and enhance transportation infrastructure in Askira Uba Hawul Federal Constituency and the Northeast region. Urge the Committee on Works and Appropriation and other relevant MDS to allocate funds, monitor the progress of this vital infrastructure project to guarantee timely completion, effective use of the allocated fund. Mandate Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I will do something that I've never done before. Because definitely, if it is Borno affair, I know who should be the seconder. Even if he chooses not to, I will recognize him to second this very important motion. Honorable Batera.
I rise to second the motion as moved by my brother, Honorable Maidala.
Motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Works and Legislative Compliance for further legislative action. The 16th order of the day is a motion on installation of appropriate and adequate metering system by the Department of Petroleum Resources of Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Afupe Moruf Afolabi. Honorable Afolabi is hereby invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I want to deliver Mr. Speaker to step down this motion for many reasons, sir.
Step down by the leave of the House. The next order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of the bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Police Act 2020 to review the services of police personnel in order to improve the experience and expertise of the police workforce, to retain experienced personnel and reduce the cost of training and recruiting new officers, improve the morale, performance and job satisfaction, and to address the shortage of experienced police personnel and related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Tajuddin Abbas and Honorable Abubakar Maki Eleman. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 24th May 2024. Colleagues, I will invite the Chairman Rules and Business to move that the House will suspend the relevant provisions of the standing orders to enable the House commence and conclude debate on the general principles of this particular bill. Thank you.
I rise to move that the House do suspend the relevant rules to allow the second reading of this all-important motion. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to second the motion as moved by Chairman Rules and Business. I so second.
Motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, with your kind permission, Honorable Mikey will lead the debate on our behalf.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to lead the debate on the bill to amend Police Act 2020. My respected colleague, this is a very straightforward piece of legislation that seeks to amend the Nigerian Police Act 2020. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, this bill seeks to amend the Nigerian Police Act 2020 to review the service year of police personnel in order to improve the experience and expertise of the police force. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, to retain expense and personnel and reduce the cost of training and retraining new officers, improve the moral performance and the job satisfaction, and to address the shortage of experienced police personnel. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, my respected colleagues, in view of the present security challenges being faced in our country and the effort of the police to bring it under control, the need to amend this act, it becomes necessary for us in the system, and therefore appeal to our overwhelming support and the bill to be read for the second time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my honorable colleagues.
Seconder to this bill, Honorable Nepalas.
I rise to second this bill. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Vote of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of the following reports to be considered. Mr. Speaker, the report to be considered is the House to consider the report of the Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by A.E. Adole and Co. against Julius Berger Nigeria PLC, Ijora, Lagos, a case for conspiracy in data, criminal defamation, and conduct likely to cause breach of peace. Mr. Speaker, another report to be considered is the House do consider the reports of the Committee on Public Petitions on the petitions by Dr. Hilary Ibe against the Veterinary Council of Nigeria for reinstatement and payment of full benefits and approve recommendations therein. Mr. Speaker, the following report is a report on report by Dr. Mumeke George Oyekanjike against Bini Owena River Basin Development Authority. And another report is to be considered is the House do consider the report of the Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by Joseph Andrew against the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, as appeal for reinstatement back to service and approve recommendations therein. Mr. Speaker, the last but not the least report to be considered is the report on the petition by MC Chambers against Multi-Choice Nigeria Limited, the National Broadcasting Commission, and the Federal Competition and Consumers Protection Council. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, these are the reports to be considered. I thereby move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Rotimi.
I'd like to second the motion that these reports do hereby be accepted.
Of this motion, you say aye. Those against, you say nay. That's it. Leader, can you move that the House resolve to the Committee of the Whole to consider these reports?
Resolve into Committee of the Whole to take the reports submitted by Honorable Etaba. So move.
Dear colleagues, I rise to second the motion as moved by the House Leader. I so second.
Those against, you say nay. That is it. House has resolved to the Committee of the Whole. Thank you.
And that's the size of this week's episode of the program from the National Assembly, House of Representatives. We thank you so much for your time. Do join us again for another episode of the program next week. Until then, stay patriotic and contribute meaningfully to nation building. My name is Mitaire Ikben. Bye for now.